putting that story aside, I am now about 14 years old. It's summer, middle of the night, there's a storm. Nothing unusual. I have to go pee. So I start to wake up because I don't want to go for a pee, but you're in that stage of, I want to stay in bed. No, otherwise I'll mess the bed. My dog is lying at the end of my bed. My little puppy is there. She, Pompon, is there. And I'm beginning to wake up, and my sister's sleeping there in her twin bed, and my bed faced the stairway. Bathroom is over there. And I'm about to wake up, and I see Pompon like this. He's looking down the stairs on the bed, and I am awake, totally awake, and I'm about to get out of bed when I see her coming up the stairs. An elderly lady. You could see through her. She had what seemed to be a nightgown on. You know, just old lady, sort of coiffed. She looked nice, like pleasant enough. And the only thing that she did was I was just sitting there. But you know, you're sitting there, but you're not afraid. You are just not afraid. There's just something in you that, no, you're looking, you can see it. You know everything that's going around you. And all she did was, oh my goodness. And I went, I remember doing that. And then she went down the stairs. I never saw her ever again. I went for a pee and everything else like that. And the next day, I told my mom. I told my mom about it. But because now I was 14 and I thought that I married at the time of telling her that. But I guess I didn't. But Mom found things out later on because my mother had a lot of knickknacks and pictures of us through, you know, growing up and everything else like that, and on the piano, which of course we would get heck a lot because most morning things were down or twisted around, and she always blamed one of us of playing pranks on her until we were no longer at home. No one to blame. And she was alone in the house, day in, day out, except when we visited her and whatnot. And she finally came clean one day and told us that it must be the ghost. It must be the ghost because our pictures would be turned, little bibelots, you know, knickknacks would be somewhere else, or, you know, just on the, instead of being on the piano. It wasn't her that did it because my mother had a place for everything. You know, she had a million things that gathered dust or whatnot or will not. And they were everywhere. So little things that would be, you know, like she would come home from shopping or whatever, and she'd leave some change to put away in her different little banks, and then she would come back and the change wasn't there. It would be on the couch or on a chair somewhere, change, like all in a little clock. So I firmly believe that my house, 27 Charles, where I grew up and I spent a good part of my life, was haunted. And my sisters could say a lot of stories on their own. My sister Sue smells before she sees. I'll see it, and my sister Louise will hear it before she sees it. So we all have our own little stories like that. When I was growing up, I had a very dear friend called Doreen Popes. And Doreen and I were like as thick as thieves. She was 2 years younger than me, and we were real tomboys at this point in time. In front of our house was this old, well, it had turned into a shack with time because it used to be an old log house. And it was like a semi-detached log house because there had been a family living there forever, and then they eventually moved out and it was condemned. But the other half, old Charlie Leon lived there. His name was Charles Leon. And Charlie had been married and never had kids, but his wife had died a long time ago. And Charlie used to go to the British Hotel in Elmer every day around 4 o'clock till about 6-ish. One summer when I was about 12, which made Doreen 10, he got the, I don't know how you say it, like the guardianship of a niece and 2 nephews. Now, he was not able to take care of them, but Children's Aid had plopped them there because they had nowhere to go until they sorted things out, and because they were a little bit older. The youngest one was my age, 12, and then the other ones, I don't know, maybe 14 and 16. So they didn't have that long to go before they were considered adults and, you know, shoo. But that summer, they were there. And about 3 weeks into it, the girl was gone and the older boy was gone, but the younger one stayed for the whole summer. And we used to play together, him and Doreen and I. Now, Charlie's house hadn't changed since maybe the 30s. And it was decrepit inside. I had never been, but when he came along, we'd wait for Charlie to go to the British Hotel at 4, and we'd go in. And it was really neat because when you open up, the first part of was like it was the woodshed where they would dump the wood in the winter, because all he did, he heated his place with an old wood stove. That's it. Anyway, one day, it was summer, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, sun's out, birds are chirping. We decided to go in again because he had old pictures of people, like old pictures of people. They were pictures taken back in the 20s or 30s or whatever. And it was really neat because oh my God, it looked like a real, looking back on it now, a real horror house where people could get there and get hacked to death. And we were a little bit hungry because we're not teenagers, but we're kids. And we're hungry. It's 4 o'clock and we can't eat because our parents won't let us eat anything before supper time, not to spoil our appetite. So he said, well, there's peanut butter. So I said, okay, fine, peanut butter sandwiches, here we come. So we went in and we told Doreen to stay on the side of the woodshed in case Charlie, for some ungodly reason, you know, we're smart at 12 years old, would scurry back home because he forgot something or whatever. So she stood on the side of it, and we were in, and you know, he's making peanut butter sandwiches. He's kind of cute too, you know? So I had to I forget his name, what can you do, eh? And he was kind of cute, and I was like giggly 12-year-old girl. And, but I was, you know, looking at the old mat where Charlie had his stuff. He didn't want to go up the stairs, because the stairs was like an annexing thing, and there was all kinds of newspapers up there, and you couldn't go up, so. And they slept on a cot in the back there. Anyway, ew. And we're making peanut butter sandwiches, and we're talking, and all of a sudden, we hear this sound. It was like the only thing that I can describe it as is a ghostly sound. That's all I can say. A woman, maybe, I don't know, female or male, but it sounded because of the high pitch of it. It started really low, like a moan. I didn't know what that was. And he dropped everything. And I can still see his face to this day. And it was like he drained of blood, like he just said, we have to get out. We have to get out. And I didn't know what was going on, but I could hear this. It was low at first. So we have to get out. So I said, okay, fine. So I'm trying to get the sandwich here. I still want to eat when I leave this place. And then it's getting louder, and it's like it's like a force, like an energy, and it's just pushing us back into the house, into the frame. So he's like, over there, because when you walk out of the woodshed, there was the hole where the wood would be thrown in, and the wood was all stacked there in the drawer there, but we knew we couldn't get to the door. Well, we didn't know, but that was the instinct. So we had to jump out of that hole, which we did.